feeling a little hurt, Amazon? We give you our money for ridiculously cheap products from China. We invite you into our homes to listen in on our every conversation. Thanks, Alexa. And Amazon, you come into town and you don't even tell us you're here? I'm hurt, Amazon. Not hurt enough we want to stop talking about landing your second headquarters. But our Marshall Zellinger looks at what we were all focused on when Amazon was touring Denver 5 weeks ago.
We just found out Amazon sent a team to Denver for 3 days on January 31st, before Denver submitted its second-round proposal to land the company's second headquarters. Well, we kind of just found out. Turns out when they were here, Kyle secretly told us on air.
Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper is with Amazon here in the city of Denver.
See, you got to pay closer attention. We now know 10 people from Amazon flew to DIA on January 31st, some taking the A line to downtown where they were greeted by Governor John Hickenlooper. And if they got here before 6 a.m., they got next-level A-line treatment. Electrical work stopped service between DIA and 61st and Pena early in the morning. So why are we finding out about their visit now?
Just this week, we submitted our second-round proposal for Amazon HQ2, and as a result, we want to let the public know that we are seriously being considered for the substantial and transformational opportunity.
While Amazon was touring Denver, they got to see how we do the holidays long after the holidays. Decorations were still up at the City and County building, and the stock show was already done.
But apparently, the Visitors Bureau asked to keep the lights and decorations up longer as a welcome to the Outdoor Retail Conference.
Right, Outdoor Retail Conference. Amazon also got to see the super blue blood moon from Denver. Some sun, some snow, hashtag Colorado. And then on February 1st, when they turned on Next, they saw coverage of themselves.
Colorado tries to get Amazon's attention with a bright, rainbow-colored flag.
Not knowing the governor greeted Amazon the day before, Brandon actually talked to the governor about an effort to get Amazon to not consider cities that don't have gay-friendly laws.
Amazon hasn't said if it plans to shorten that list of 20 cities, add some drama, whether it plans to pile on more cities, or whether they're just going to pick one.
Maybe like the one that was talking about them while they were here. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
We will likely hear about the next hoops that Amazon wants us to jump through. Next steps. We'll hear about those in April or May. Last night we told you about Jared Polis' campaign for governor sending out 15,000 text messages today with a link to a campaign video. And they swore they're only texting people who have opted in for texted info. We were wondering how that squares with campaign rules. Turns out it may not even matter. So we got a tip from a voter who's received some text from the Polis campaign. He got a text about a meeting with voters. After saying he wasn't interested, he got another one asking for his support. What's going on with that? We checked with federal regulators, and so long as these texts are sent from human hands, like a Polis campaign volunteer, you cannot stop the texts. The FCC does not allow auto texting from a computer without your permission first, but the Polis campaign says it is using only the thumbs of volunteers. You ready for a raucous caucus tonight? Temper your expectations. They're probably going to be drier than unbuttered toast. But they are important to democracy. Democrats will announce their winner tomorrow. Republicans won't name any kind of front runner. That'd be interesting in the governor's race. But the delegates picked tonight will help narrow down the field for June's primary, which again, reminder, is open to everybody. Tonight's caucus only for registered Republicans and Democrats. Governor Hickenlooper says it is not his role to call for the resignation of Mayor Hancock over sexual harassment allegations, which struck me as odd because he did see it as his role to call for the resignation of former state legislator Steve Lebsock over sexual harassment allegations. The governor told public radio reporter Benta Birkeland last November that Lebsock should resign as the facts about his sexual harassment became known. Hickenlooper was asked at the time back in November why he hadn't joined the immediate chorus calling for Lebsock's resignation. He said this.
And just finally, with Lebsock, you didn't specifically call for his resignation, right?
Well, when first asked, I didn't know the facts. As the facts become apparent, certainly he should resign.
As the facts become apparent, certainly he should resign. The facts are pretty apparent in the Hancock situation. The mayor admits he sent sexually suggestive texts to a subordinate who felt uncomfortable. Yet the governor says it is not his role to call for his resignation. We'll see if we're the only ones in town who notice that that does not quite seem consistent. Colorado's largest police union wants the mayor to resign, yet they know he won't. The head of Denver Sheriff's Union today said it is demoralizing that there isn't one elected official who will say that Mayor Hancock should face consequences for his actions. Union President Mike Jackson also told me he finds it absurd that his fellow deputies and other city workers have been ordered to attend sexual harassment training right after the mayor admitted his misconduct.
It kind of brings down that morale. People feel that, since you see these things that are happening at the top end and nothing's ever going to get done about it, the mayor's definitely not going to resign. And the city council's not going to do any kind of censorship or anything. There's nobody going to do anything. It's just like, okay, yeah, the mayor can do this, but, don't you ever get yourself into anything, because you're going to get ran through the, that's what they're going to do. They're going to put you under investigation. They're running you through the whole ringer. So it's more of a morale issue. And that's kind of where it affects us mostly.
Your guess is the same as mine, which is that the mayor faces no consequence in the end for this.
No, there's no consequence, and there's not anybody willing to. There's no elected official willing to say anything otherwise.
We should note Denver's law enforcement unions have long been opponents of Mayor Hancock, whose office released a statement last night dismissing this call for his resignation, saying that those unions have always resisted the mayor's reform efforts. The former principal at Manual High School who just resigned is now talking to us about why he left in the middle of a school year. This was the principal who made unsubstantiated claims of racism against a small-town football team. Weld Central students never flew a Confederate flag at a football game, as the letter signed by Principal Nick Dawkins claimed. Today, Dawkins spoke with Jeremy Hohola from our 9 Wants to Know team, and Jeremy, he acknowledges that he was facing allegations and investigation of a hostile work environment.
Yeah, that's right, Kyle. He calls this allegation the final breaking point for him and his family. Dawkins told me over the phone a series of traumatic events at Manual High over the last year has been tough. And he says when he learned he was facing these claims, that was it. He declined an on-camera interview, but we spoke for about 20 minutes. Nick Dawkins described this year's difficult and high-profile events at Manual that just piled on, he said. He called them traumatic. Dawkins mentioned that controversy with Weld Central High, the deaths of 2 students, a gun found on campus, and other incidents involving violence in the neighborhood surrounding the school. And when recent allegations of a hostile work environment surfaced, he said that was a breaking point. Dawkins said while the district supported him on the outside, he claims there isn't adequate support for school leaders like him to deal with these traumatic events. This is one quote that stuck out during our conversation. As a father and husband, it was time to say no DPS, no, I'm not going to be or continue to be subjected to such trauma. He went on to say he felt some members of the leadership team at the school were not supporting him and that he felt sacrificed. He did say he's open to going back to the school depending on what may be negotiated. Dawkins said he feels the district should provide more mental health support for its school leaders. The superintendent himself was also a big supporter of Dawkins, pointing out in a letter last week 90% of the students were satisfied with the school under his leadership, Kyle.
Interesting to hear, Jeremy. We know that this was a guy who was under a lot of external fire for that unsubstantiated claim. And despite everything, all the praise that we heard from the district, he says not so rosy on the inside.
Exactly, Kyle.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. An education and a dream, they can be one and the same. So when they come true, that is cause for a lifetime celebration. Our Byron Reed celebrates a milestone for a Denver Public Schools program we first showed you here last year.
So they're just going to start passing them out. Everybody will get one.
Celebrating milestones is possible.
Thank you.
When you take it one step at a time. At Fairview Elementary in Denver, they're throwing a party for first grade teacher, Miss Lucky.
It's good to see them so excited and happy for me.
These students are some of her biggest fans.
Good job for Miss Lucky. Miss Lucky, thank you for teaching me.
Lucky took her first step by becoming a paraprofessional for the Denver Public School District.
I've always been interested in teaching.
So she took the next step and signed up for the paraprofessional to teacher program.
Emotions.
Started by DPS, it gives people a chance to earn their bachelor's degree at little or no cost.
And so I was able to stay in my job as a special ed para here at Fairview while I took my courses, and then I was lucky enough to student teach with first grade here.
Today, they're celebrating Lucky for taking that final step.
I graduated from WGU as the first para to teacher graduate for DPS.
An opportunity made possible by a past mill levy and community donations to help with the statewide issue.
Letting them move into teacher roles is, I think, one of the greatest things DPS is focused on in order to reduce that teacher shortage and put great people in our classrooms.
Right? Because it's a party.
Making it easier for teachers like Lucky to celebrate milestones.
Ended on a happy note.
And take a step on a pathway to success.
I just love the kids. I love having a chance to actually make a difference.
For next, I'm Byron Reed.
Yesterday's wild winds have calmed down, according to our new weather gauge. That grandma on top of a brewery in Denver. And a Flight for Life patient returns for a flight without his life on the line. Next. We fear Grandma wasn't going to make it yesterday, but she survived. The enormous inflatable grandma, buffeted by the winds atop Grandma's House Brewery on Broadway in Denver yesterday, still standing today, though we're told the ropes that hold Grandma in the neighborhood needed to be tightened a bit today.
First, she got run over by a reindeer, and now this. That was dramatic video. Much calmer in the city tonight. I'm meteorologist Kathy Saban, and we are looking at a beautiful day tomorrow with less wind. It's not bad out there right now. 37 degrees, our high temperature today in the mid-40s. We're headed into the 50s tomorrow afternoon. The wind advisories have canceled out, which is wonderful news, minus the neighbors out on the eastern plains who are reporting winds to about 20 and 25 miles per hour on the backside of a low pressure area that will be the second nor'easter in a week's time for the northeast coast. High pressure setting up over Colorado. Nothing but clear skies and lighter winds tomorrow. Beautiful ahead of a weekend storm and maybe a chance of snow. We need it. Fair skies and 19 in the city tonight. Light winds, a cool night. Sunny mid-50s tomorrow. The average this time of year 52. Mid-60s Thursday, Friday. A little cooler with mountain snow Saturday. Daylight saving time this weekend. We spring forward 1 hour, 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. And Monday, there's slight chance of snow around here. And then temperatures rebounding back to the 60s or upper 50s by Tuesday. Good travel weather tonight, headed in and out of the high country on I-70.
Kathy, thank you. Flight for Life Colorado does thousands of flights every year, sometimes 3 to 4 a day. The flight crews and nurses, they meet people on the worst day of their life. Our Noelle Brennan found it's something special when a patient chooses to come back.
I am a F-16 pilot with the Colorado Air National Guard out at Buckley Air Force Base.
Sometimes a pilot needs to learn to be a passenger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys got the look, I got to tell you.
Kurt Tug Tongren.
Yeah, that's my call sign.
Doesn't quite know what to expect.
Awesome, thank you.
From this Flight for Life helicopter.
How do you take off? Do you go straight up and then that way? Or
where you're going.
Kurt's been here before. He just doesn't remember it.
Do you want to see the pictures? 30 years ago, I was riding my bike on the side of the road and I got hit by a car.
Oh my gosh.
There was a ladder rack on the back of the car, or on the front of the car, and it put puncture wounds kind of in the back there, and then that's all road rash.
He needed more than 80 stitches in his head.
When I cut it short, you can kind of see.
Oh yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad, because Flight for Life Colorado,
they saved my life,
got Kurt to the hospital so he could say thanks 30 years later.
This is a bullet from the F-16 that I fly now. And it has the F-16 on it. It says Flight for Life. And then on the back it has an American flag. And it says another life saved, my name, and then the year.
No one has ever given us one of these. This is amazing.
Kurt will remember this gift too, and the call that cut the ride short.
They got a call about a patient with a possible punctured lung, so they were out of here.
For that, this pilot and patient is forever grateful.
It was a great experience, and I will never forget it.
For next, I'm Noelle Brennan.
Flight for Life's program director's Kathy Mayer. You saw there in the story. She was a flight nurse back in 1988. There's a good chance that she was flying on the day Kurt needed help. Another popular Red Rock show. Another round of popular Red Rocks conspiracy theories about ticket sales. And I was warned that I would get a lot of unsolicited advice as a first-time parent. It's been better than I ever imagined. Next. happens every time a big show at Red Rocks goes on sale. Thousands of people flock online to try and get their tickets, only to fail, and then call us to complain. And we do not mind. We get the people really wanted to see Imagine Dragons. Tickets went on sale last week for the show in July. It sold out in minutes. But as much as people always want to blame scalpers and bots, you also have to consider just pure supply and demand. For example, when Tom Petty tickets went on sale, 27,000 people all at once tried to get those tickets. There are only 9,000 seats in the venue. So it's fair to say that when the most popular shows at Red Rocks go on sale, most of the people who try to snag tickets are going to end up disappointed. It's a sign spotted by next viewer David Wood up in Snowmass Village. We love their sign department up there. They installed a new one a week ago that's got the population, it's got the elevation, just like on the old signs, incorporated 1977. But we were curious about the new addition on the sign, the number of dogs registered.
Brand new with one minor addition, and that is the total number of registered dogs. Keyword being registered. You know, we don't know how many total dogs are in the town, but we do have a pet registration system, so we have 210 registered dogs. Why? I don't know. We wanted to keep the tradition of being funky and funny, and we just thought it'd be, you know, fun.
The total is my favorite line. Just add them all together. Travis there, who works for Snowmass, says he apologizes to the cat people, but says he hasn't really heard from the cat constituency. Well, Travis, prepare for a call from David, who sent us the signs. He told us as a cat owner, he finds it to be blatant discrimination. My very sincere thanks for the stack of letters that you sent me. Heartfelt advice on becoming a dad. Plus your feedback on something I missed today. Next. I was warned that as a first-time parent, I would get a lot of unsolicited advice. I was told just ignore it all. Well, thank goodness I haven't. I have read every one of your letters and your emails and your notes. I've been touched by the unsolicited advice you offered. How willing so many of you have been to admit your own mistakes so that my wife and I might avoid them. So many of you have shared your successes so that we might see them as possible. Your honesty has been really refreshing, as I hear from dads who have struggled with fear or disinterest. You know, in a world full of fake Facebook happiness and pristine Instagram images, I'm really grateful for all of you who have privately shared a slice of real life. We finished with your feedback, and a bunch of you noticed something that I nearly added to a story tonight and failed to. Chris, Ed, Lee, Heather, Mark all noticed about the governor not calling for Mayor Hancock's resignation over sexual harassment, but calling for the resignation of State Rep Steve Lebsock. People have said, well, Lebsock's a state employee under the scrutiny of the governor. Hancock's the city mayor. It's apples and oranges. I specifically asked the governor's spokeswoman about that distinction. If that's the reason why Governor Hickenlooper will not call for the mayor's resignation, she told me flat out that is not the distinction that they're making. It's got to be something else. We'll see you next time.